Hi there, greetings and salutations. It's crazy because, Derek, there's snow outside. It's cold outside. It feels like the holiday season. It looks like the holiday season, yet we have no decorations for the holiday season. For whatever reason, I don't know if the Grinch came and stole our Bailey and Wood representation, our Chateau Kitchens representation, our Hoagies and Hops where we are on location representation, our Chilly Water representation, our IU Indy representation. But we are thrilled, as always, to represent all of those brands, and we're putting them under the tree right here.
Yeah, there you go. They're wrapped up and under the tree. There's a pumpkin out here with frost on it. Is there anything more depressing in the world than a pumpkin that has snow on it?
Yeah.
It just makes me sad to see something like that. I'm not ready.
My understanding is that by this weekend it's supposed to be 75 and sunny.
It's going to be beautiful. Yeah.
But where did this, not to do the obvious here, but where did this come from? I mean, I heard, here's what I'd heard last week. Okay, last week what I heard. You're going to want to bundle up on Monday because it's going to be a little bit chilly for a day.
I did see that it was going to be cold.
A little bit chilly for a day, and that should happen until about 2 in the afternoon, and then the warm front's back in, and we're back to normal. So don't worry about it too much. Okay, fine. What in the world is this? For the second straight day, I've woken up in Poland.
But to be fair, Jake, and the weather people clap back this way, if I was a meteorologist and you're knocking me for not being as thorough in predicting this forecast, I would just turn around and say, hey, so how about the Colts this year? 8-9, huh?
No, fair.
You know what I mean?
And in addition to that, it is amazing. There are days where and I pointed this out before, where it's amazing where they'll say by 3:30 in the afternoon you're going to want to be home because that's when the sleet's coming, and at 3:31 you're like, oh my
yeah,
gosh.
More times than not they're right.
Correct. It's
more times than not they're right about that.
The Colts are 8-2 heading into the bye, and now it is vacation time, if you will, before the Kansas City Chiefs are looming. Question is Derek Schultz. And we've got a lot to talk about over the course of today. We could talk about the Pacers and a positive that's taking place with that. We could talk about Indiana football, an unbelievable catch. We could talk about Purdue sliding from 1 to 2 in the college basketball rankings despite the fact that they won. But let's begin with the Colts in this form, Derek, and that is you go into now the bye. You're 8-2. You have a stranglehold on your division. You are the best team by record in the National Football League. But my concern, I have a couple of them, and I want you to tell me if you think being concerned over an 8-2 team heading into the bye makes me a pessimist.
Okay, tell me the concerns, and I will tell you whether you're pessimistic or not.
My concerns are this. My concerns are at the end of every football season, you can look at how many teams are in the NFL? 32?
Yeah, 32 of them.
So 31 teams, their season ends in a loss. And when your season ends in a loss, you look at it and you go, that loss typically is a microcosm of the things that plagued you over the course of the season. There is nothing that has plagued the Colts to this point except they have an ability here or inability the last couple of weeks to mask a couple of things that are starting to rear their ugly head. It's like when you drive your car and you hear that one little clicking noise and you're like, maybe that'll just go away if I keep driving it. And then it gets louder and louder. It's just a clicking noise right now. But suddenly they're having problems protecting Daniel Jones, and that results in they're having problems protecting the football. And that is something that when they got out to the start that they got out to, it was largely because of that. They were protecting Daniel Jones. They were protecting the football. And Jonathan Taylor, we know, is an elite and special talent. But they couldn't get to the other team's passer, and they're now allowing teams to get to theirs. These, to me, Derek, are the introduction of areas that need to be tightened up, or else it's going to be what we talk about at the end of the year.
Yeah, I think it's a concern. You're talking about a 2-game sample size here, but I think it's a concern, the pressure rate the last 2 games where the Steelers and Falcons just were constantly after him and constantly overwhelming the Colts offensive line. And when you do that to any quarterback, I don't care how good you are, that's going to affect how they play negatively, and it certainly has affected how Daniel Jones has played with the fumbles. And, there's some things in there that he can control, like ball security can be a lot better. I mean, what is it now, 6-7 fumbles or whatever in the last 2 games? That's way too many.
These are, you grew up a New York Giants fan, so you still peripherally pay attention to them. Daniel Jones is having a remarkable year. There's no doubt about it. But we are finally starting to see the kids from Scooby-Doo haven't completely ripped the mask off, but you're starting to see underneath. You're like, okay, is that the Giants' Daniel Jones here? And again, I'm worried that we're getting into the spot of, like, will the real Daniel Jones
the
please
regression
stand up?
to the mean?
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah,
I don't think that we're going back to the Daniel Jones that led him to be basically pushed out of New York. But we're also not seeing that the one that we saw for the first 6 games, let's say, is also that certain of the stability.
Yeah, my take on that, and the reason why am I concerned about Jones and ball security? Sure I am, and pressure rate and things like that. Why I'm not concerned about him turning into a pumpkin, if you will.
Right.
To bring up another pumpkin with our frosty friend that's out there right now at Chilly Water Brewing Tap Room. The reason why I'm not worried about that is 19 of 25, 255, and led the game-tying touchdown and eventually
totally
the game-winning
yep.
touchdown drive. I understand Jonathan Taylor carried a brunt of that, but that throw to Tyler Warren.
He did make it
right.
throw.
I mean, when the game has been on the line, even when Daniel Jones has performed poorly, and that's been rare this season, which is good as he's been, when the game has been on the line, he's made the plays, I think, to help you win.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's why, if that's a bad game, if Sunday is a bad game for Daniel Jones, we would have signed up for that before the season, right? If that's an F game or a D- game, you would have signed up for that before the season. He still hasn't truly had just the complete disaster game. Even the game in Pittsburgh, it was bad, but it wasn't horrific. It wasn't a catastrophe.
When you said an F game or a D game, why
do we skip E? Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know. Who came up with the grading system? Why isn't it like 1, 2, 3, 4,
right.
6,
right,
or 5? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, and F. Did we go with F just because it stands for fail?
Yes. Yeah.
And that's why we
flunk.
skipped E?
Probably.
But
why don't we
none
start
of the
with
other
B?
letters?
Yeah.
None of the other letters mean anything.
Correlate with anything.
Right.
If anything, E should be excellent, shouldn't it? Or this was easy for you.
Yeah.
You know what I got a lot of at IU? Letter grades?
I.
You're on the right track.
W.
Yes.
Really? You withdrew from a lot of classes?
I would say
Does
that.
a W go on your permanent record?
It gets, if you retake the class, it gets replaced with the grade that you retook the class with. But sometimes I didn't. Sometimes I signed up for a class and I was like, I got no chance in this class. So you just take the W and you just kind of move on. But of the buildings that I spent the most time in at IU, Franklin Hall was probably in the top 3 because that's where you would go in to withdraw from a class before the deadline. So I got a lot of W's.
How many?
Oh, I don't know. Just trying to think off the top of my head. All the classes.
How does it
6 or 7?
I
replaced a few of them. I
had
probably
an
replaced half
entire
of them.
semester of incompletes because I got mono.
Yeah, see, this was all self-caused. This was not some virus, or you had a legitimate excuse. But
so you just didn't go to class and then you just withdrew?
It depended. There were some classes that I just didn't go to. I signed up accidentally for a class that met Wednesday nights, second semester, and it was the lecture part of it was from 6 to 8 on Wednesday nights, and Big Ten basketball is on Wednesday nights. So obviously, in a level of importance, going to the IU basketball, I mean, that's 90% of the reason why I chose the school. That was more important than going to class. So I had to withdraw from that one.
Was that considered a sufficient excuse? In Indiana, it probably was, actually.
Well, I just told them, look, I was like, if you want to attract students to this class 6 to 8 on Wednesday nights in January and February, that's not going to fly. And
okay.
There was no response for that.
If you want to attract
there,
students to this class, right?
So I'm at Franklin Hall.
It's the class chamber of commerce, right?
So I'm outside Franklin Hall, toss the cigarette, right, stomp in there, and then say, hey, look, lady, I'm withdrawing from this class. You guys are crazy for putting these games on Wednesday nights because IU's playing on Wednesday. And this was the Mike Davis. This was like the crappy Mike Davis teams that I was wanting to see.
You didn't get to watch a lot of Lance Stemler?
No, that Lance Stemler would have come in like right after me. Okay. But this would have been like
who was the star basketball player when you were at Indiana? Bracy Wright?
Yeah, sadly. But
yes, sadly, he's a good player.
Yes, Bracy Wright came in the year after me. So once that Coverdale, Newton, Fife, Jeffries group, that was my freshman year. Yes, Marshall Strickland, Bracy Wright, Sean Klein was a starter on a lot of those teams. I loved Roderick Wilmot when he came in. Roderick Wilmot came in very late in my career.
You've heard the rumor on Roderick Wilmot, right? Isn't he the one? I don't want to say any names in case we're wrong here, but there is allegedly a former Indiana basketball player that went into the adult entertainment business.
Oh, no, I've never heard that with Rod Wilmot.
No, again, I don't know. I think that's allegedly who it was.
Yeah. Well, he could light it up when he really got on one. He could light it up for sure.
Look that up.
Let's get back to the Colts, though.
Okay.
I just feel like
I'm looking
finding
this up there.
a way to win when it's not your best day, even against an Atlanta team. Look, Atlanta, I was trying to think of it. Atlanta reminds me of an NBA team that has 2 or 3 guys that are really good, but the team stinks. You know, there have been teams like that, and they end up being like the 8 seed or whatever, and they've got a guy that can score 35. You know, kind of like Phoenix. Phoenix the last couple of years when they still had Durant and they had Devin Booker, and it's like, wow, they've got this top end talent, but then you watch them play and you're like, they're not any good. They don't. Or I shouldn't say they're not any good. They don't win, or they don't win consistently. But on a given night, Book and KD are going to go for 45 and 35, and you're in hot water. You know, with London and Bijan and some of those guys that they have dudes. You know, even Pitts, even though he's been kind of a bust,
dudes.
He's a dude. He's a physical specimen, right? And so I just think the people that are like, well, the Falcons are 3-6 and they stink, and you should take care of them easily. The NFL, look at the Dolphins. Look at the Dolphins and Bills game. The NFL is just tough when it comes to that.
Roderick Wilmot is now the head coach of the Mott Sports Academy men's basketball.
Cool.
That was as of December of 18.
I think, and people are right in saying I am remaining on the positivity train. I'm remaining on the optimism train because I'm extremely optimistic about this Colts team. So I'm brushing aside some of the concerns because I'm like, whatever. They're fine. They're fine. Even though those are legitimate concerns like the ones that you pointed out. But this win and finding a way when it wasn't your best day. I mean, I thought for sure, Jake, in the fourth quarter, once the Falcons took the lead, I was like, all right, here comes a Jones interception.
I would agree.
Was anybody else thinking the same thing? Or here comes a strip sack. Like, I did not think they were going to win that game. And yet they drive down, game-winning field goal. The second that they got the ball back, you knew that it was just going to go to Taylor and it was over.
Correct.
So they were either going to get a field goal because Taylor was going to march him up there, or he was just going to go straight into the end zone.
If Shane Steichen had enough
happening.
confidence to kick the field goal, right?
Yes, but people that are complaining about that, they're complaining about the things that have made the Colts most effective. When the Colts have been aggressive this year, and when they've been efficient offensively, it's been from throwing first, right? And being aggressive. And so when those things sometimes don't work, I don't think those same people can turn around and complain about those things. You know what I mean?
Fair.
There was a field goal that I would have taken. The 4th and 2, the first drive I would have absolutely gone for it. The 4th and 2 in, what was that, third quarter? I would have kicked that field goal. They were on the 9-yard line, and they ran that little pitch play to Taylor. Had no chance. I mean, the Falcons had like 4 guys there that snuffed it out right away. That was one where I would have kicked the field goal. But for the most part, I defend the process because I think the process is sound.
Yeah, look, Shane Steichen has been, aggressive from the get-go, right? Are there times where late in drives you'd like for him to stop and think things through a little bit? Yeah, maybe.
Sure.
But to your point, Derek, you go with what works, right? And in addition to that, in the overtime, to be fair, Daniel Jones, were there times where, as I'd mentioned, I watched it with an eyebrow up? Yes, but on that last drive, I think it was the last drive where he threw that pass to Tyler Warren. That was a perfectly thrown football.
Yeah, it was a dot.
And Tyler Warren, made plays for them not once but twice when they most needed it. They had to convert. With the Colts, are you ever worried if it's 4th and under 5? Ever?
Yeah, I think there is.
They seem to draw up the perfect play in those situations.
There is a lot of the time where, it's funny because this has been a continuance of the previous regime where Reich would go for it a lot, but then the play call would always be something that was
right.
like, why? What are you doing? Whereas I think more often than not, Steichen does get too cute sometimes, but I think more often than not he makes the right play call. But real quick, can we talk about Warren too, just real quick? I want to pull up his stat line.
I'm going to guess. Let me guess his stat line.
Okay.
8 catches, 99 yards.
Yeah, 8 catches. Okay, you knew that from
was that
do
a
3-hour radio show or whatever. Yeah.
Can you tell me?
899. Yes. That sounds like I don't need to say anything more than that, right? 899 is an exemplary game, especially from a tight end. 8 catches, 99 yards. That's a great game. Tyler Warren is so much better than even that stat line. Like 899 doesn't tell you the whole story of how good he is. I mean, if you want to talk about somebody that has really transformed the operation of this offense, as much as we talk about Jones or Jonathan Taylor's just having this historic, unbelievable, one of the best running back seasons we've ever seen league-wide, right? Off to that pace through 9 games. Warren he changes so much. I mean,
Yeah,
he can take direct snaps, he blocks, he does everything. He makes the critical catches at the right time. It's unbelievable.
Another guy in that same category is Alec Pierce, because Alec Pierce is not only making catches for the Colts, but watch Jonathan Taylor runs. It is not often that you see a wide receiver that is going down the field and running alongside and creating blocks and also getting key catches when they most need it. You can hear the cash register every time Alec Pierce makes a catch. And yes, there was this thought, there was a narrative, and it kind of went silently in the middle of the night in terms of this thought process. And that is, when they drafted A.D. Mitchell, you thought, okay, they just got their insurance policy here in case they can't re-sign Alec Pierce, or Alec Pierce doesn't necessarily take the next step and you just go ahead and see who's there. Immediately, Alec Pierce this year, in his ability to play not only behind the defense but also come in, play on the line, make a catch there, or block for them, all of those things combined have now made it where A.D. Mitchell was expendable above and beyond just the lack of focus from A.D. Mitchell. So sending him along tells me that, yes, the Colts have said, you know what, this is our guy, and we're going to do what it takes to retain him. In addition to that, Derek, the trade for Sauce Gardner, which of course happened right after we got up here. But the trade for Sauce Gardner, giving up the 2 number ones, that says the Colts believe they have their quarterback in Daniel Jones. They better hope that works out, because they're going to sign him probably to, let's say, a 3-year deal. In that time period, if they want to find his eventual replacement, it's going to have to come outside of round number 1, at least for the next 2 years.
Yeah, you're right about that. Let's table the Jones thing just real quick. I have an Alec Pierce take. You ready? Mm-hmm. He's their best receiver.
Okay.
He's their
I'm
best
not going to
receiver.
argue that.
Yeah, and
Tyler Warren might be their best receiver.
That's not a knock.
Now let me ask you this: do you mean he's their best player whose position is labeled as wide receiver?
That's where I was going with. But yeah, he's their best wide receiver is what I was going to say. I just think, and that's not even necessarily a knock on Michael Pittman Jr., but when you talk about
didn't he date Sidney Sweeney?
Dynamic, game-breaking level. I saw Alec Pierce at Hoagies and Hops last year.
That's right.
Yeah.
I was here
you were with me.
Yeah.
We were having a buddy date. I forgot about that.
Don't touch
Jake
me.
and I
he
were
was not
having
with Sidney Sweeney, right?
Sandos, and we were having a buddy date, and it was one of those fundraiser days for Zaire's cheesesteak. That's what it was. And he came in to support a teammate. And, you look at Alec Pierce, he looks like any other dude, bro,
Unless
from Butler or wherever
Sweeney.
else that would walk in here, especially because he had like a hoodie on and stuff. Like, obviously he's a built guy and a cut-up guy. I don't think anybody stopped him because you would never know that is a WR1. You would never know that.
Would you? Let me ask you this. If you were eating Hoagies and Hops and Sidney Sweeney walked in, would you stop?
Yeah. Do you remember, and this was terrible because you put me in a position to make a fool out of myself. But there was when we used to do the show from the Firestone Garage, there was a certain IndyCar driver significant other that there are certain people in life that it's
Chloe Chilton.
Okay, did you have to say the name? Just can we get that in post? I don't want to even say the name because it makes me uncomfortable. You brought her on the show and it made me uncomfortable because you told her that I said this. But there are certain people in life that are, it's not my opinion that they're physically attractive. It is factual that they are physically attractive, right? Like sometimes people may differ. Like most people find me attractive. There are some people that don't find me attractive somehow. But there are people in life that are factually attractive. And Chloe Chilton, when she sat with us, it was almost like, we're having the conversation. She was super nice or whatever, but it's almost like you look over at her and it almost looks like a hologram.
That's
like
what you said out loud.
No, I didn't say that while she was sitting with us because
you looked right at her and said, "No, I'm looking at a hologram." That's exactly
that
what
would
you said.
be like almost like demeaning. Like she's super smart and funny and personable and all of that. Like I like her as a person, period. But you would like glance over and it was almost distracting because you're like, no one should be this physically attractive. Like this sort of physical attraction should not exist on Earth. It almost looks like I said, a hologram, like it's CGI, like it's AI, whatever else. And Sidney Sweeney would fall into that category.
Said that. You looked,
I did not.
Right at Chloe Chilton and said, "I feel like this is a hologram."
What ended up happening was we brought her on the next year. So I said that whatever year that was, 2017, 2018, Max was in the race for a couple of years. And then the next year, Jake goes like this, and he sees Chloe walking by the Firestone Garage and sits her down, and she's like, "Hey, my buddy here said that you're so attractive that it almost looks like a hologram. And she played it off and was cool about it. And even though it was gross, it was almost like a creepy thing. I would never have said that to her face to face.
You did.
No, I didn't. You did.
Air checks exist.
You did.
You in the middle of talking about
and you made me look like an idiot.
Her father owned an art gallery in London, and she was talking about her art gallery.
Yeah.
And you looked up. You're listening to the story, and you looked up and said, "I feel like I'm looking at a hologram."
No, I did not say that. That
direct quote.
That's not how it happened. I've always treated women with respect and all of that.
Yeah, like
I've never been creepy and weird and slid into somebody's DMs and all that stuff. Like
you used to call Katie Koleski's house to hear her answering machine.
Well, yeah, there was a time in my life where I was like that. In my adult life, I've not been like that. Yeah.
Okay.
There was a time, when I was 13, 14 and I was thirsty. I am not thirsty any longer. Yeah.
We're at Chilly Water. It's the best place to be.
I know. It's a great place to be thirsty.
We have gone this far into the program and have yet to mention the greatest catch in the history of Indiana University football.
Table that thought.
The greatest play in the history of Indiana University football.
Because hero and Hoagie of the week. Let's do that after this timeout, and then we'll get into the Omar Cooper catch.
All right.
Come back. Chilly Water Brewing.
Very well.
Tap room, that's where we are. Hoagies and Hops as well. Thanks so much for joining us. It's Query and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network.
Hey, which games are we going to tonight?
You know we cover all sports in Central Indiana. Hop in. It's going to be a long night.
Bailey & Wood Mortgage Lender, proud partner of News 8 Sports Hummer.
Hey, AC!
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap! Duh!
Bailey & Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Presents Query and Schultz, ISC Sports Network. Thanks to our friends at Bailey & Wood, presenting sponsors of the show. 855-350-HOME, BAWFG.com. 5-star customer service. I am so happy for Mike Wood. You know why, Jake? He flies down to Miami a lot for games. Mike has had to sit through some absolute stinkers. That Thursday night game against Baltimore from a couple weeks ago. Just a brutal game. But they get to beat a division rival in Buffalo and upset them.
That was a big win.
Mike is there. Yeah. Awesome.
Look,
that's the joy of sports. You get to experience those things sometimes.
The joy of representing Bailey & Wood is that Mike Wood is a fabulous guy. And, you see the spots, right? You see his kids that are involved because it's a family-owned business, and that's what you want. When you are going in, you're looking for your own home, you want a family business because they're going to treat you like family, and they understand the core values of what that means. And so, therefore, Bailey & Wood is your only answer when it comes to the very best in terms of mortgage rates. They've continued to grow year by year. You can see it. And with each growth, that much more that is invested back into the local community and making sure that you as a customer and as a client of Bailey & Wood, that you become part of that family. That's what we love, and that's why it is an honor to represent them each and every week here on Query and Schultz on the ISC Sports Network.
Speaking of sponsorships, time for our another sponsor here. We're sitting right here, right? Chilly Water Tap Room.
Fabulous right here.
Hoagies
Some
and
lager,
Hops,
baby.
42nd
I'm getting ready to
Boulevard.
go, just so you know, going on vacation. You're not going to see me next week.
Yeah.
Going to both Austria and Germany. Plenty of lagers and pilsners, I would assume, on the vacation.
Hell yeah.
But what better lager to start with than the Chilly Water Lager right here
Chilly
on
Water.
draft?
They just tapped it. Just tapped the Chilly Water Lager. Oh, that's good.
That's beyond good. That's as smooth as can be, man.
That's what I love too. Is that like sometimes it's a little intimidating when you come up here and they have they've got the Built to Last and Santeria and Mama Tried and Hall & Oates that we just tried on the show the other week, and sometimes I'm just like, just you got a lager, like just go ahead and knock that out. And this one is a delicious one to knock out for sure. Our Hoagie of the week. This is the Pitt Twist. It is the Greg Rakestraw favorite staple in the Rakestraw household. He's in Meridian Kessler, not in Butler Tarkington. Little ham. Not a little ham, actually a lot ham. Lot ham on this sandwich. You got some Prove on here. You got some house-made slaw on here.
Crunch of the chips.
You got some mayo on here. And you got some crunchy chips as well. Oh, geez, I actually need a napkin, too. Can I grab napkins real quick? Is that okay while you're chewing?
What do you mean?
Let me grab a napkin here real quick because I got slaw. Hang on.
The sandwich is perfect, and Hoagies and Hops is perfect. Listen, Last week, Indiana played Penn State. A little awkward because Hoagies and Hops, this is basically the Penn State bar, right? I got to finish my sandwich. Hoagies and Hops at 42nd and Boulevard. Penn State. My buddy Rob Whitaker loves coming in here. Nobody is more IU through and through than Rob Whitaker. And you know what he loves? He loves Hoagies and Hops because, Christina, they do such a great job of representing her hometown, her home area of Philadelphia with Penn State and the Eagles. But at the same time, there is that symbiotic relationship where they understand the heritage of Indiana, Indianapolis. And Rob loves coming in here during an IU game, seeing it in here, getting himself a sandwich. And last week it was Indiana and Penn State, the two married together in what was a great football game. And, yes, I realize that Ohio State fans want to make like too big a deal out of the fact. Let's see. What do we got here, Christina? Come on in.
Come on in, Christina.
Come on in.
I got slaw and everything on.
What do we got here?
So I got this yesterday, and I was so excited. So I found out from a customer. I found out from a customer that I could submit our shop because other people have already submitted that our shop is the official spot for all the Eagles games. And anyway, I got this yesterday from Philadelphia, from the link, from their marketing department, that we are the official landing spot in Indiana for the Birds. So I'm very excited. We were all excited last night. We were packed house last night.
That's right.
So it was fantastic. Yeah.
Awesome.
Go Birds. But yep, official. If you want to come watch the Birds, where you come.
I mean, it was already like official, but now it's official, like all caps came from the Eagles that this is your spot.
Officially
and you see, it's amazing, Jake, because I come in here Sundays a lot, and fall, winter, spring, the whole deal, even when it's not Eagle season, but especially in the fall, and you see people from all over that are indie people that have the jerseys or whatever else. I mean, Philly is a generational fan base.
I'm flying to Philly
and
tomorrow.
a huge
Did
one.
I tell you that?
You know, people think of the Packers and the Cowboys and the Steelers and the Cowboys. Sure, like those are national fan bases, but when you talk about like the next group of teams, Philly would be way up there.
Do you know I'm flying to Philly tomorrow? And it's like a 2-hour flight.
I just flew to Philly. I had to connect.
Really?
I had to connect to go to DC. Isn't that weird? I flew direct back, but to get to DC, I had to connect.
How was the Philly airport?
It's fine.
Now here's a little bit of a concern. We have a layover in Philly, 46 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I had. So I didn't really get much of a time.
I
had some trail
as of
mix.
right now, knock on wood, we arrived 6 gates away from where we take off.
And you go Philly right to Germany?
Philly to Zurich, Switzerland.
Nice.
Now, Derek, I have 4.5 hours in Zurich, Switzerland on a layover. Does that count as being to Switzerland?
No.
Huh?
No.
What if I go out and walk around?
Can you leave security and then come back? I don't think you can.
I think you can.
I don't think you can. Maybe out there you can. No rules. But maybe out there you can.
It's neutral.
Here in America, you can't leave the security.
rules.
Let's get to our hero of the week, because you had alluded to this before we got to our first time out. For as much as we've praised the transfers and the James Madison guys, so when you really think about Indiana football, like obviously Curt Cignetti is at the head of the praise train, right? But the people that we've praised, right? Curtis Rourke, Ohio transfer, right? Elijah Surratt. Aiden Fisher, those guys are the JMU guys that have made up the core of the team. Here's a kid in Omar Cooper who was recruited to Indiana when things were bad. He was recruited to Indiana when it was still Tom Allen, so he sat through the final 2 losing seasons of Tom Allen. They fire the staff, they move on, right? And he sticks around. Indy kid, LN kid, whatever. He sticks around. He doesn't go. There have been other guys, McCauley, people like that have gone or gone, come back, and then gone again. He decided to stick around and kind of bide his time, and now that patience pays off because Cooper is their leading receiver, had that huge game against Indiana State, which is part of it, even though I think most people would agree. I mean, Surratt's probably the number one out of that group, right? But Cooper's a really good player. But he makes, I think you have to say, Jake, the greatest play in Indiana's program history.
Yes.
With that catch in the back of the end zone against Penn State. And what's so wild about it is, and I don't even know if he consciously did it or not, if that first foot comes down first, he's out of bounds. It was the second foot coming down first.
I saw Joey Galloway. Joey Galloway and Kirk Herbstreit were talking about this. And they made the interesting point. They're like, look, it's when you watch this in slow motion, it looks like he lifts his right foot cognitively in order to get the left foot down. And they're like, in real time,
there's no way you would
consciously
do that.
You're not consciously doing it, right? You're just, but There are two things about that play, to me. This is the greatest play in the history of Indiana football. And I sent a tweet, post, whatever you want to call it, that said, this is the greatest play in the history of Indiana football. And then underneath it I said, albeit that history, but it's still the greatest play in the history of Indiana football. And all of these Ohio State fans had to come out of the woodwork to discredit Indiana. Oh, what history are you talking about? Hey, morons, that's exactly what I said. You're making my point for me. The Ohio State fan base is so incredibly myopically boorish, and now for whatever reason they are inside, like literally living in, or I should say Indiana's living in the heads of Ohio State football. I never thought I'd see it. I think 90% of Indiana fans, if you were to ask them on Truth Serum, would say, yeah, Ohio State's probably going to beat Indiana because they go 3 deep in level of their talent, their depth, their speed. They've got NFL wide receivers all over the place, and they have a quarterback that's playing at a very high level. But so too does Indiana. So too does Indiana have a quarterback that when the entire country's watching, they were down a score. They needed to go the length under 2 minutes. He gets blasted and sacked on play number 1, and then he drives them down the field. And yes, Charlie Becker had great catches, and Omar Cooper had a great catch. No question about that. Guys made great plays for him. But good teams find ways to win games where it looks like they're going to lose. They find ways to snatch victory away from the jaws of defeat. That's exactly what Indiana did. It has nothing to do with Ohio State. Ohio State was not invited into the conversation. They're ranked number 1, Ohio State. They're beating everybody by 1,000,000 points. Great. Hallelujah. We will see what happens when the two of them theoretically play in the Big Ten title game. That's assuming that Indiana is able to beat Wisconsin and Purdue, and that's assuming that Ohio State's able to beat Michigan, which they haven't done in nearly half a decade. But nonetheless, the bottom line is this. Indiana goes down, and on that play, not only does Mendoza have to stand in there and make a throw right as he's about to get hit, the official gets a ton of credit because he's standing in perfect position, looks at the feet, looks up, signals touchdown, and then is vindicated by the review of it, and he was looking at it, boom, boom, boom. But the most underrated aspect of that play, Derek, was Omar Cooper, who was a long jump champion at Lawrence North High School. His elevation of getting like 4.5 feet in the air, unbelievable. He caught that ball. Mendoza put it where only Cooper could get to it, and Cooper got to it and then was able to get down and get the foot down. It was an unbelievable play. It's the greatest play in the history of Indiana football, and that's why he is our hero of the week.
Yeah, I mean, it cemented a lot of things for Indiana. First off, it cemented that they're going to play at Indy. There's a 0% chance that Wisconsin and Purdue are going to.
You'll know that.
There's a 0% chance. And even if they do, they're still likely to go even with one loss. But I think it cemented Mendoza at the very least is going to go to New York, and he's the front runner for the Heisman. I mean, I think he locked up a trip to New York with that win and with that throw and that Heisman moment, right? And it just seems like a guy that has been a great and a seamless fit, whereas that hasn't happened a lot.
By the way, I'm going to ask Ohio State fans to listen to me closely here, okay? I know it's hard. Listen closely. When you hear people saying that Mendoza had his Heisman moment, they're not saying that's the moment he won the Heisman. What they're saying is if he goes on to win the Heisman, it's the moment they will show to illustrate why he did. There's a difference. You see an actor in a movie that has a passionate line, and you're like, man, if they're to win the Oscar, that's the line I'll bet they use like in the montage. It's the same thing. Players that win the Heisman have a moment where you look back on it, and it's like that's the clip that is shown when showing what their year looked like when you're later illustrating it to somebody. Doesn't mean he locked it in. It means that's the play that will be referenced when discussing what they were able to do over the course of the year. There is a difference.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen other transfers fail, and guys that were big names even go to a new spot and it doesn't work for whatever reason. They don't vibe with the head coach, they don't vibe with the offense or whatever else, and Mendoza's come in here and he looks like a player that's been in the program for 4 or 5 years. I mean, it's been sort of a seamless transition, and I think people assumed that was going to be the case because he came in with a lot of pedigree and IU paid him $2 million or whatever it was reported that they paid him, but it's not as easy as they've made it look. But what's wild to me, Jake, is that, all these firsts for Indiana, first time back-to-back 10-0, first time playoff, first time winning in state college, they just keep adding to it. But these plays and these moments that they have, it's just almost like this perfect bubble that they're living in, where every single thing at once has just kind of gone their way after 100 years of every single thing going wrong. Like in Indiana did not catch a break essentially for 100 years. And now every play, every toe tap, every bounce of the ball, every circumstance, every transfer, everything like that, it's just all happening in unison at once. And finally, Indiana is we keep talking about it like it's a moment. I'm not so sure that this is a moment as much as it's a movement. It's a movement towards a new era of who Indiana is going to be, even beyond this, even after Surratt and after Fisher and after all these guys, and after Mendoza.
Are you ready for something that I never thought I would say? Brace yourself. I'm going to make a statement. Earlier in the show, we mentioned grades A through F. I'm going to make a statement. I want you to grade it A through F.
Okay.
Penn State is looking for a new head coach. LSU is looking for a new head coach. Auburn is looking for a new head coach. Florida looking for a new head coach. Elite level top 15 perennial programs. Indiana is the number one coaching job in college football in 2025.
This is how I approach that question.
Grade, please.
When it comes, I'll give it a B+. This is how I approach that question. It's a couple of things. Can I win? Can I have all of the resources that I want? And can I, for the most part, not have to deal with psychopaths?
Okay. 3 for 3, right?
And I think that's why.
For now. Indiana basketball
Indiana's
fans have shown that the Indiana fan base can be psychopaths, right?
Sure. But even, Jake, and look, we used to say, well, if Indiana could just be Iowa and crank out 8-4 season, I'm not so sure that is the bar anymore for Indiana. I mean, fans are going to expect more after going through these back-to-back years. But I think there is some truth to the fact that Curt Cignetti wouldn't get run out for going 9-3 every once in a while, whereas you get run out for going 9-3 at LSU.
Right.
You get run out for going 9-3 at Tennessee. Those fans expect to go 11-1 and be in the playoff every year.
In Indiana, for right now. Now, to your point, Derek, things become fluid. And Indiana already has a precedent of getting spoiled by success from a coach and then running the coach out by that standard. Bill Mallory comes to mind. But Indiana right now has a coach that can make $10 million, that can go to the athletic director and say, I need A, B, C, and D, and A, B, C, and D are done like that, right? And to your point, every 3 years they go 9-3, and Indiana fans go, okay, for now. Now, that might change. That standard might change. But for right now, you don't have the ridiculous expectation. Ryan Day lost to Michigan and amidst a national title, and people are like, I don't know, should they fire the guy? You know what I mean?
The standard is the standard, though.
Right.
And they were justified in wanting that.
I get it.
As much as people say you're a psychopath for wanting to fire Ryan Day, Ohio State fans, there is no excuse to be losing to Michigan for Ohio State. None. I mean, they're a vastly superior. I know Michigan just won a national championship, but kind of a one-off with Harbaugh, and then things, kind of settled back in. But there's no excuse for them to lose to Michigan, much less regularly.
I'm going to go back to what I have predicted. Indiana's going to lose to Ohio State in the Big Ten title game.
And then beat them in the playoff.
And then beat them in the college football playoff. Period. Now, the other thing, too, is I saw people that were like, if Indiana loses to Penn State, they have no business in the college football playoff. And I'm like, have you looked at 12 teams? 12. Virginia's in there.
Guys, Notre Dame has beaten, I guess USC's okay. Notre Dame's virtually beaten no one. They're going to waltz it at 10-2. I mean, they're going to waltz it because you have to find 12 teams. You have to find 12 teams. ACC's going to send one team, Jake. The only team the ACC's going to send is their AQ. That's it.
I'm going to look right now.
They got nobody else.
Sorry for still eating this sandwich.
Unless, Georgia Tech beats Georgia and wins out, which isn't going to happen, but they're going to send their AQ. They have one. Look at the Big 12 right now. I mean, Texas Tech's pretty good. BYU's okay. What else do they have? You got to find 12 teams somehow.
Derek, if you can tell me.
You're probably going to have 5 SEC teams in the playoff.
If you can tell me 10, 11, and 12 right now in the college football playoff rankings heading into this evening, because we're taping this Tuesday morning. If you can tell me 10, 11, 12, I'll buy another Chilly Water Lager.
Notre Dame, Texas, Ole Miss?
No. Ole Miss is 6th.
Okay. Notre Dame, Texas, and
Notre Dame's 9.
Oh, they're 9? I thought they were 10. Texas, Who's the other SEC team that was in that mix?
I'll give you hints on these. You ready?
Yeah.
Texas is 1. They are 10th. 11th. Historic program, one of the greatest. Went out and got a coordinator from another big-time program. Struggled a little bit. Had a decent year. Rebounded this year. Had a decent year.
I don't know, Oklahoma? Are they
Correct.
Okay,
Oklahoma.
yeah.
And then number 12. Historic program, but has never been in a Power 5. Maybe they are now. I got to think about that.
Well, it's Power 4 now.
Power 4, but
Yeah.
and they might be now. I don't think so. No, they are. I think they are now in a Power 4. But historic program, and ironically enough, their most famous, one of their 2 most famous products, completely goes against everything that they as a university represent.
I don't know.
BYU.
Okay. Yeah.
And then after that, though, so like if Indiana were to drop out of the top 12, then one of these 3 takes their place. Vanderbilt, Georgia Tech, Utah.
And they're all gonna they all gonna eat each other up too. Like the SEC teams, especially. There's a lot in there. No, Indiana. I can say this. I mean, even if Indiana lost to Wisconsin or Purdue and Ohio State, they would still make the playoff.
Yeah,
Indiana could survive 2 losses at this point, as long as you didn't lose to Wisconsin and Purdue. Then that would be obviously problematic. Because then if you lost to Ohio State, you'd be 9-3, and that'd be a problem. But there's just no chance that that's going to happen. Quick other college football wrap. Purdue's kind of playing out the string here. They lost to Ohio State. They haven't been outright embarrassed like they were on last year's team, right? I guess I'll give them some credit there, but it's 2-10, unfortunately for them. And then Notre Dame, after really a sloppy effort against BC, they slam Navy. They get kind of a tricky game, ranked Pitt on the road, but I just don't know how seriously to take the ACC, Jake. We were talking about this off air. The ACC to me just screams like it's just a bunch of 8-4 teams that all just kind of beat on each other. There aren't a lot of truly bad. I mean, BC is truly bad. There aren't a lot of truly bad teams in the ACC. There just aren't any great ones.
I feel like Notre Dame having to go and play Pitt is like one of Bob Knight's really good Indiana teams or the current Purdue team having to go and play at Iowa or at Minnesota. You got to mind your P's and Q's. You should win the game.
If you don't screw up, yeah.
But you know that they're going to be well coached and it's going to be.
I mean, what's Notre Dame in that game? 9-10 favorite probably.
I'd
have to look.
I'll guess 7.5.
Yeah, maybe because they're on the road. Maybe that's it. And Pitt is actually ranked, even though I think they're ranked more by default than anything else. Let me look and see. I'm just interested to see what the line is on that game. 11.5. Wow.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's a lot. 11.5 for that game. So we'll see. College football playoff rankings tonight, and the people that are complaining about where teams are slotted. This stuff all sorts itself out. I don't know why we're all sweating about it or why we're worried about it. The committee is human beings. They're going to use some eye tests. They're going to use some analytics. They're going to try to combine those things and spit out the rankings at the best that they can. But I do think that this is one of those years where there's not a lot of separation between team. Is there really that much separation between Oregon and Vanderbilt, the teams that you mentioned at the end? I think a lot of those teams are kind of clustered in together. I think the 2 teams to me that deserve the most. Actually, we should throw A&M here. Nobody's talking about A&M.
Yeah.
But A&M, IU, and Ohio State are the ones that deserve the most benefit.
The thing that's interesting is A&M typically, more often than not, Texas A&M is the Minnesota Vikings of college football, where they have this great year, and then when it matters.
They were Clemson before Dabo got Clemson winning championships, right? Where you were waiting for the other shoe to drop with A&M. But, I mean, I think you got to give some credit
Clemson's
to
back
A&M.
to that, by the way.
God, what a sad year for them. We come back, quick hits. We got our IU Indy Jags report still to get to, and Chateau Kitchen's Buy It or Bowl Bleed. It's Query and Schultz, ISC Sports Network.
At Bailey.
Welcome back. Bailey Wood presents Query and Schultz, ISC Sports Network. Alongside Jake, I'm Derek. Thanks to our fabulous ISC crew, especially the folks in the truck.
Look what I have right here,
cold,
Derek.
I'm sure. They have heat in the truck, I guess, but it's chilly.
It is chilly.
You got the
Not unlike Chilly Water and the Chilly Water Lager, which was fabulous.
Let's get through our quick hits here before we get to the IUI report. Shane Steichen giving the kicker a vote of confidence. Despite 2 misses on Sunday, it doesn't appear that Michael Badgley's going anywhere.
People ask me all the time about you. I give you a vote of confidence.
Thank you.
Means nothing.
It means a lot to me.
No, don't touch me.
I'm confident in you as well, my best friend and
Okay.
our professional relationship. Asked Monday if the Colts had plans to reevaluate the kicker after a missed extra point and a well-short 53-yard field goal try, which just can't happen anymore in today's NFL. Steichen said he had a lot of faith in Badgley and mentioned the game-tying field goal to force overtime, which he nailed. This pitch-fixing thing, am I right in saying it was only a matter of time before
of course.
some of this stuff happened with the prevalence of sports gambling?
Derek,
So there are two guys with the Guardians.
You go to a game now, and literally, I looked around the other day. I was at the Pacers game, and I'm looking around at the people around me. And, I mean, it's literally like everyone is sitting there playing Tetris, and they're all on apps, just boom, 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 by the play. It's unbelievable.
Luis Ortiz and Emmanuel Clase are the two that are embroiled in this, but Ortiz was the one that appeared in federal court on Monday. He's accused of taking bribes to help associates in his native Dominican Republic win prop bets on pitches that he threw. Ortiz and Clase allegedly took several thousands of dollars in payoffs to help two gamblers in their home country win at least $460K. So they were placing bets on the speed and the outcome of certain pitches, including some that landed in the dirt. I'd be shocked if they were the only two that were doing this. I think there are probably a lot of people who are on edge right now thinking, oh, God, I hope they don't find out that I did this too. And we've seen it in the NBA,
I want to make very clear here. I want to make very clear that I'm not saying that either of the two of us would be. I'm using this as strictly as an example. Mm-hmm. But if someone came to you, Derek, and said, "Hey, there's actually a bet you can make on what Query and Schultz are going to say in terms of the first word they say coming out of segment number 2. So if you just say the word is as the first word, then it pays 10-1, and I could make $15,000.
I'll throw you $1,500 of that.
Yeah, I mean, the thought process would be, who would ever know? Who would ever know? Yeah. What happens then, and I'm strictly using this example to illustrate how this all goes down. What then happens is, all of a sudden, one of the gambling apps or a casino in Vegas or Atlantic City or somewhere like that goes, there's this radio podcast video show in Indianapolis, Indiana that suddenly just had $180,000 put on it, and typically it gets $2,000 worth of action, and it gets flagged, and then therefore it becomes – that's how these guys get caught. Or like
huge bets, like a $50,000 bet on a pitch, and you're like, what?
That's what I mean.
Why would you bet $50,000 on this? Yeah. No, I'm trying to think. My cut's usually 20. So
you're
20% of 15,000, so $3K. So I'd want $3K for saying is, or like what would be another word that we would sneak in? Like, well, not pantaloons. That would not be a word that we'd sneak into the show. Something natural. Pigskin. Yeah, $3K. That'd be my cut.
How would you start with pigskin? You'd have to say, is pigskin getting slippery for Daniel Jones, right?
Or pantaloons would be a tough one, too. I don't know why pantaloons popped into my head. I don't know why. Terry Bradshaw catching some hell from fans. The 77-year-old suggested the Rams should bench kicker Josh Carty. The problem is they already have. But I feel bad for him, Jake. The move happened on Friday, and clearly nobody at Fox told him. And you have a daily radio show. We're paid not to miss stuff. I miss Colts stuff sometimes. Like, totally. I don't get it until a day later. What I don't like is national guys who try to fake it. And I think it's impossible to cover all 32 teams intimately, but I think this was just a genuine oversight.
I could be wrong in this. Wasn't Terry Bradshaw recently announced, like when I say recently, I mean like 2 years ago, that there were some health things going on there?
I think there were. I mean, he said that he wanted to get to 80, and he's 77 right now. So, he's in the twilight here. But I didn't think this was some like, if he said the Rams quarterback was still Kurt Warner or something, then I think he deserved to catch some hell for that. But a kicker that had been released 48 hours earlier, it's hard for me to bust his chops about it.
I would tend to agree with that.
As much as I enjoy the fact that fans are more educated and intelligent than
tough.
ever, it's
Derek,
annoying.
I will tell you,
it's annoying sometimes that people can be really annoying.
And it's hard enough doing. I can't imagine. doing a radio show in Indianapolis, it's one thing because you only have to know about the teams in Indianapolis. If I had to know the ins and outs and the nuances of every team in the NFL, no way.
It's impossible to know. You got our IU-Indy Jags report?
I do.
Let's do it.
Hot off the presses right here. It is the Jags report for IU-Indy. Again, Division I athletics right here in downtown Indianapolis, epicentered right here in the city. Yeah, nobody wants to see you.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. It is the IU-Indy Jags report. And it, again, no matter what sport, let me give you a little story. We're getting ready to get back into the season for the Indy Ignite, for example, professional volleyball in the north side of Indianapolis. And when I walked in last year when I went to the first game, and I loved going to their games, I was stunned at the amount of fandom of, so many young girls and being able to see volleyball being played at a high level. That's exactly what you get with IU-Indy. IU-Indy Athletics offers the opportunity for Division I athletes, whether you are somebody without children, you simply want to support local athletes, whether you are somebody who has kids and you want them to see those role models that they can aspire to be as far as Division I is concerned. And we'll begin with swimming. You all know it. IU-Indy has the best natatorium in the country. I mean, you walk in and you see right there along the wall the list of all the athletes that have come through there, the divers, the swimmers that have had to qualify for the Olympics by swimming in the natatorium at IU-Indy, the state finals that take place there, those state finalists that go on to swimming into the Olympics. But when it comes to swimming, when you have a great facility, obviously you want great teams, and that's what you get. Because the men beat WashU in dominating fashion and Northern Kentucky over the weekend. They are back in the natatorium on Saturday. 216-76 over Washington. 251-54 over Northern Kentucky. Dominating wins Saturday, natatorium, IU-Indy. The men are in action. As for the women, also beating WashU. 159-140 over the course of the week. They beat Northern Kentucky 240-48 in women's swimming. And next week it is the Host of Champions invite at the natatorium. So all kinds of swimming action taking place. We ask that you go to the website iuindyjags.com/tickets for ticket information. And that includes men's hoops. Now, yes, men's hoops still looking for win number one, but that is not to say that they are not absolutely at this point excited because they're playing at a high pace. They played well against Ohio State. They played well against Butler. And upcoming, it is the Read to the Final Four. Road to the Final Four, Read to the Final Four. You got a bunch of kids that are coming in there that are going to be able to meet the team. That is actually happening in terms of kids from Indianapolis meeting the IU-Indy Jags men's basketball team today. That is on a Tuesday. 5,000 third graders, as a matter of fact, will be cheering on the Jags. And they've looked good. Like I said, I realize still in search of win number one, but LIU, Butler, Ohio State, three good teams where they've lost. They are at Eastern Michigan later this week. At Eastern Michigan, looking for win number one. On the women's side of things, they are 1-2. They beat Indiana State. I told you about that. Then they dropped games, tough ones to Northwestern and Ball State. But they are getting even scoring throughout. As a matter of fact, that game that I'd mentioned against Ball State, they had 4 players in double figures, led by a pair of twins. Haley and Olivia Smith had 19 and 13, respectively. November 15th and 16th, 6 p.m., November 15th, 16th, 6 p.m. in the Jungle, IU-Indy campus. You're going to get volleyball there in a doubleheader because you can do the buy one, get one, and get into women's basketball as well. November 15th and 16th. Ticket information, iuindyjags.com. And most importantly, for volleyball, who just had a 6-game win streak, they have qualified for the Horizon League tournament, and you get in free with a military ID. It is Veterans Day today. Thank you to all of the veterans who have served this country, and with a military ID, in free for IU-Indy women's volleyball, who is the hottest team in the country. They'd won 6 straight. They dropped 1, but it didn't matter because they're already qualified for the Horizon League tournament. So plenty going on. Division I athletics, many local athletes right here downtown Indianapolis.
IUIndyJags.com/tickets for all that
information. I need
information.
the pom-pom and the jag. Like Rake has the props. We need the pom-pom and the jag. But nonetheless, I'm excited.
IUINDY. We come back on the show. Chateau Kitchen's Buy It or Bull Bleep, and we'll tie a bow on this bad boy. It's Corey and Schultz, ISC Sports Network.
Which games are we going to tonight?
You know we cover all sports in Central Indiana. Hop in. It's going to be a long night.
Bailey and Wood Mortgage Lender, proud partner of News 8 Sports Hummer.
Hey, AC!
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap! Duh!
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Back for final time from Chilly Water Tap Room, 42nd and Boulevard. Hoagies and hops right on the other side here. Christina, Donnie, and the crew. Some slaw. Some drippy from some slaw. That's okay. Here, I'll actually get that. It's good. House-made. House-made slaw. Delicious. Yum. Very, very good. Oh, you still got some chips on your side. Hers chips, too.
I mean,
Really
the food
good.
is fabulous, but
Yeah.
you're one of the grossest people I've ever met.
I don't know what to talk about. I don't think I'm gross at all. I'm just enjoying chips and the food and the beer. Chilly Water beer.
The beer is great. No question.
Really good. Chateau Kitchen's really good as well. ChateauKitchens.com. If you are looking to start a new project and you're about to be stuck in your home because it's winter now, apparently.
It is,
in central Indiana. So
It is.
If you want to be comfortable in your house, you better call Chateau Kitchens and get that project started today.
What is it when the weather turns, by the way, that like hormonally all of a sudden makes you just want to be like a home dweller and just like snuggle up and everything feels cozy? You know what I mean? Like
Are you going through menopause? Or?
Menopause.
Yeah.
It's called menopause, right? The hormone. Like
No,
literally, I walked out and I
with
saw
you.
the snow on the ground, and I'm like, I just want to like actually like watch movies all day.
I
Not
work-
Lifetime movies, but watch movies.
I work
all
from
day.
home, thankfully. I'm like one of the few that didn't get the return to office stuff. And, normally I'm just sitting at my desk. I have a desk downstairs and kind of an office space in our basement. But yesterday I just took my laptop and had a heated blanket and my dog was on me. And I was like doing emails and stuff. I was like, this is the life, man. Like this isn't so bad at all.
That, by the way, that office downstairs facilitated by Chateau Kitchens.
Exactly. They made it at Chateau Kitchens on Instagram and Facebook for before and after photos of their latest projects, whether it be a kitchen, a bathroom remodel, your basement. They've done all three of those things for me. Chateau Kitchens is in the business of in-home transformations. They can transform your home at ChateauKitchens.com. Statement number one, the Colts will be the only AFC South team to make the playoffs.
I'd buy that.
Yeah?
I'd buy it. I
No
think
Houston run coming?
No.
How about that win for them, by the way?
I know, but
Wow.
It's pretty clear right now. It's going to be Buffalo, New England. How many teams get in from the AFC? Is it 7? I always forget
Yeah.
this. Is it 7 or
Yeah.
8? 7? Buffalo, Miami, Indianapolis. There's 3. The Chargers 4. Denver
Chiefs.
5. Chiefs 6.
Colts, Steelers?
And probably Pittsburgh or
That's it.
Baltimore.
Yeah, Pittsburgh or Baltimore,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I think, the Bengals and Cleveland off. I think it's somewhat self-explanatory, but people were talking to me on Twitter yesterday about the chances the Colts blow the division. Colts would have to go like 3-4 down the stretch and have the
Zero
Jaguars and Texans sweep them, and I don't
The
think
Colts
it's
have
very
won the
likely.
AFC South, yes.
I don't think it's very likely. So, yeah, I don't think that one of those other teams will make it. I think Jacksonville has the talent to do it. I don't think Houston's that great. Defensively, they're good. IU will not only be an NCAA tournament team, but a top 25 one. Buy it or Bobley.
Totally buy it in basketball. I've gone down to see them play, and I love the spacing that they have offensively. They are really aggressive defensively. And I think Indiana is going to be a challenge for people. I do. I mean, maybe I'm too high on them. But Tucker DeVries is already an established, high-scoring Division I level, high-level player. Wilkerson can score in bunches. He reminds me of Carson Edwards, actually. And they have good balance elsewhere. I think they're going to be really good. I think they're going to surprise people. And considering the short amount of time that they've played together, Derek, they have a cohesiveness about them.
Yeah, the cohesion and the fact that they're fun to watch are both welcome changes, but I'm kind of defaulting to this, Jake. Anytime over the last 10 years that Indiana has shown any sign of life, like they've had a good game, we've been like, oh my God,
get it.
they're going to be really good, and you're sleeping on them. They're going to be
They
great.
scored 100 against a Shaka Smart team.
Okay. Again, I'm defaulting, right? I'm
I
defaulting
get
a
it.
little bit here, but like, let's just calm down. It's been 2 games. Marquette's fine. They're okay. They were picked to be like the 5th team in the Big East, which is an okay league. And yeah, they dismantled them, and I think DeVries is absolutely like an all-conference level player, and Wilkerson is a guy that anybody would be lucky to have on their team. And again, they play a good style, and DeVries, I think, knows what he's doing as a head coach, which you can't say about some previous Indiana head coaches. But this whole like
Name one. Name one.
I can name several, but the fact that they're suddenly going to be a top 25 team or anything like that, no. is Indiana going to be better than people thought because they just kind of airdropped in a team? Yeah, maybe. I mean, that would be a great testament to Darren DeVries to bring in basically a brand new team,
right,
cobble it together, and have it be an NCAA tournament team. I think that would be a wonderful first step in year one for him, and just to get this program stable again, so there's not these wild swings and peaks and valleys.
You mentioned cobble together. Did you know cobblers are shoe repair people, right?
I think that's right, yeah.
There's a shoe repair place.
Yeah.
I mentioned this on social media this past week. If I go into a place to repair a watch, a clock, or shoes, and yes, I've actually used all three, they're not a legitimate establishment unless there's a dog or two that are just like sleeping on the floor. Just hanging,
chilling.
right? There is I have a pair of Rod Laver Adidas shoes. Do you know what those are?
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, when I was in the Denver airport 3 weeks ago, they both turned into flip-flops like that. Now, I'd had them for a long time and not worn them a lot, and I think the glue just came unsettled.
Okay. So the soles came undone.
The soles came undone. There's a shoe repair place in Nora. It's called Ron's Shoe Repair.
Okay.
If you're driving up Westfield just before you get to 86, there's a car wash on the left. There's a building there that you would never even know is there. And in the back of the building, there's Ron's Shoe Repair. And you go in, and it's just a dude and his son and two dogs. It's a shoebox-sized place, and there's just shoes everywhere. And you walk in, and it immediately smells like polish. And they came highly recommended, and I dropped my shoes off. And let me tell you.
Best kind of place.
Unbelievable. Cash. Yep.
Best kind of place.
But, these guys were unbelievable, super nice. When I went in to pick my shoes back up, as soon as I walked in, they're like, oh, yeah, here you go. The guy explained to me the work that he did, and they're, brand new.
Cash, paper, receipt. That's what I'm talking about.
The best.
Same exact thing, Taylor, next to the old Keystone Sports Review location, 56
I've
Keystone.
heard that.
He and his wife run it, and it's just stacks of clothes everywhere. It's a little shoebox in there. He does immaculate work.
There's
immaculate
not
work.
to compete
Cash
with that.
Only, paper
there's
receipt.
also a woman next to the old Broadapple Tans location by the 10 Star on Broadapple Avenue. Same thing. You go in there,
really? Yeah.
it's just her.
Yeah.
And you're like, how in the world
It's
did
the
she get
best,
all this
man.
done?
You feel like a lot of those businesses sadly have gone extinct.
I know.
And so
I know.
it's almost like a throwback.
You want to support them, right?
Yeah, it's almost like a throwback to the olden days. It warms my heart. Last statement, Pacers won't be picking inside the top 5 of the NBA draft. Bind or Bull Bleed?
Bull Schultz. And I led off the show with this. It's the most underrated, off-radar move that the Pacers have made in the last 6 months. It happened in the quiet of the night during the NBA Finals when the word came out like, oh, by the way, the Pacers just made some random trade and got their first-round 2026 draft pick back. And you're like, okay, cool. Yeah, it'll be the 32nd overall and some two-way player. Might be a lottery pick. Derek, I went to go see the Boom, which is their G League team, November 30th. Victor Oladipo is going to be there playing for Milwaukee in the G League. New event center up in Noblesville. I think it's called Innovative Mile Arena or something. Holds 4,000. Beautiful arena. The Boom was fun. Tickets are $17. It's affordable for kids. They got a cool mascot. A lot of fun. They've got to do something about the driving one way in and out. 1-lane road in, 1-lane road out, and roundabouts.
That's
not
a little
ideal.
problem, a little bit of a problem.
But that's not their problem. That's the city of Noblesville's problem.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a problem there. Fishers is kind of the same way with their arena, where there's kind of one way in and one way out.
Correct.
It can be a little bit problematic. No, I mean, the Pacers aren't going to get to 45 wins, right? I think.
Yeah. I mean, the injuries.
That's out the window because of the injuries. You got to attach the caveat there. But I don't think once you have Siakam, once you have Nesmith, presuming there's they're going to get McConnell back here soon, who's been upgraded to questionable. Once you get some of those regulars back, I think they're going to work their way out of the basement of the league.
Right.
But, yeah, this isn't going to be a playoff team or anything, unfortunately. I think they're just going to be too far behind the 8 ball
I would agree.
Start, right?
No fault of anybody's.
No.
Yes.
Thanks to our tremendous sponsors, not only our friends here at Chilly Water Tap Room. Here, I'll rub the wall. See? Oh, you can see my hand. This is nice. Oh, look. Hi. Whose hand is that?
Okay.
Who's doing
okay.
that? Whose hand?
Okay.
It's not my hand.
Okay.
Who's that? Chilly Water Tap Room here, 42nd and Boulevard, Hoagies and Hops, Bailey and Wood Financial Group, our friends at IU Indy Athletics, and of course our buddies
Let's go Jags.
at Chateau Kitchens.
Let's go Jags.
Thanks to our tremendous ISC crew. For Jake, I'm Derek. For Donnie, for Christina that are in the back. This has been Query and Schultz. We'll see you next time here on the ISC Sports Network.
At Bailey and Wood.